Yo, it's Ras. Alright, let's look at. There's a lot to unpack here, so. You said, should you make some T10 and 11 ground and T and 11 siege? Maybe yes or no. I need to take a look at these reports to see. So we'll put that question on the table. Strategy is stay in K36, all PvP research max, except reinforced buff. The other players should think I'm a weak keep, and it walked fantastic at some of the last battlefields. Yes, that's true. We're not facing the kind of buffs we face in SVS for the most part in battlefields right now. But we'll take a look in a minute to see what adjustments, if any, we got to make. If above K42 or rally, then I have to bubble. Pretty much, yeah. I haven't even really took a deep look. We're going to do a deep dive here in a minute. A small question about why Ludwig actually. Okay. On the ground discussion, if you want to know why we use Ludwig real quick, let's go in here and. Alright. If you look at right here. Okay. This is a ground attack general, and we saved tokens like big time. We had 51 premium tokens. I'll explain all of what I'm trying to say here in a minute. I'm kind of all over the place, I know that, but we had 51 of those tokens, and we had, where's the package? We had 12 of those tokens up top, the epic historic general glory that you need for that event. And we've gotten Algernon Sydney for range, and we've gotten Champlain for siege, because no one else has a siege attack. Voltron's ground is bigger than mine, so I decided to dump all that on siege since nobody is working on siege. We're trying to give a trifecta approach, me, Beasley, and Voltron, to give, and Naka, to give UAO the attack teeth to do some fucking rallies. So Ludwig is a general that I had already, and he's offered in an event that comes along where you could spend $20 and get fragments of him, and then he just kept dropping in all the other generals I would get as I was getting Sydney and Champlain. Ludwig just kept dropping, so I used Ludwig because I kept getting fragments for him and I could ascend him, and I really didn't have any other options for ground. So what I'm going to do for ground is still just kind of hanging out there. My Norway Ridge Dragon is the least developed of all of my dragons. It's the one I neglect. So look at these talent levels. I mean, they're level 16, level 20. Look at this one. This is level 54 and 59 talents. The dragon itself is level... Well, let's go over to the one that I've really pumped a bunch into. And I'm about to do that for the Siege Attack Dragon. This is a level 14 with 70 level talents. And that Norway Ridge is talent 16. So basically, I just barely paid attention to ground. And that's why I use Ludwig. He's not the best for fucking anything. And I just had him and could make a lot of copies of him, and I didn't really have any other options for ground, and I really got to pay attention to my range and siege attack. So I hope that explains why I use Ludwig. I'm not recommending that you use him. This does not answer anything about reinforcing buffs. It just explains why the hell I use him. His assistant popped as I was getting Champlain, this guy, and I added up all of his specialties and all the attack and stuff that he's going to add to the ground game once I start spending gems on his specialties. So this is singularly the most badass ground general that I have, but I'm using him as an assist because I'm not going to get enough copies to ascend him. That's where I'm at with my ground. But this isn't about me. Okay, I'm just trying to answer a question that you asked. Okay, so that answers that. I hope that helps you figure out what to do between Electra and Eden. I'd have to really look at the two of them to really help you there. Okay, other reports of Battlefield for yesterday. Right here, you took... This is going to be the one that we focus most on, and this is most of the reason why I made the video. There's a lot to unpack here. Okay, you got hit with a 10 million troop rally. Look at the total troops underneath Jeff and under reinforcement troop amount. Add them up, that's over 10 million troops that hit you. Okay. Now, we're going to look at the buffs. Now, of course, after watching both of those videos, I'm going to tell you, even if you're going to stay at K36, you've got that military academy opened up. And I've made 2 videos on how I do blazons. It's something that Word preaches. I'm going to ask you to bring up your ground troop HP. For a K36, your ground troop defense is actually really good. And your siege machine attack is over 1,000. I'm going to ask you to bring that up if you can. But you don't have the Thebes Dragon yet to really pump that on steroids. I understand that. Your range debuff is at 906. So I'm going to want to look at your sub-city gens. And I'm going to want to look at your champions to see if we can bring your range troop debuff up to over 1,000. I know your subs were linked if you had a 900 minus 906 range debuff. These are things that will help you take those bigger hits, because all intents and purposes, yeah, you're fast, you're quick, you know how to fight, you can bubble this or that, but those big keeps, they're, in my experience, they're very fast and they're sneaky. And so if you do take that hit, I want to make sure that we're there to reinforce you, and so that the power loss isn't insane, like 5-1. Something like 2 or 3-1 we can deal with, and you might still finish the SVS positive. You see what I mean? You see my point that I'm making? Let's go see where you're at, how many sub-city generals you've got real quick. Ranking. Where is Conny? I gotta go real slow through here. I don't look at this very often. I've got to climb this fucking... Look at Beasley, 32, and climbing. She's just really kicking ass. Okay, so you... That is the 8 sub-city club. That's the 9 sub-city club. How far are you from getting into the 8 sub-city club? Oh, you're down here. Okay. That's not something I'm going to ask you to worry about. That's a big order. So let's look at your let's look at the report. Battle detail. Let's go down to the bottom here. And all right, You have got Arminius good, Baldwin good, Andrew Jackson good, Hojo great, Mark Anthony great, John Carroll, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Sub-City Generals. We got to open you up at least a 7th Sub-City slot. You're doing 906 range debuff with 6 Sub-City Generals. Connie, you're working your ass off. You really are. I'm looking for little bitty details to push you all the way over the top. While we're on the detail page, before we go into the detail page, let's look at the buff. This is a 2300 range attack buff that hit you. Okay, that is closer to instructive for what you can expect. I mean, it's nearly a 2400 buff that hits you, and you take it with no reinforcements, and you win. So, you're definitely on the right track. Okay. Your T-14 ground layer killed 893,000 troops, lost 111,000. Good. Well, let's try to improve that. Let's try to bring your ground HP up. Try to get a few less losses, a few more kills there. There's your strength. That's something that's going to happen in a range rally. Your T-14 range did pretty good, so with a 3,300 buff, that number's going to be flipped. You don't have a million of them, so your losses can't be huge. They're not really going to help you in a 3,300 rally. So, ooh, you had your T-14 horses in there. So you don't need to build no more T-14 range. You had your horses in there, and you still won. Well, it's a rally, so there's a lot of points thrown around. You got 1.1 million T-14s. So you could have improved the score if you had half of them gone. They got 480,000 kills. Those are important. You don't want them all out of there in the event of a rally. Okay, your T-14 Siege, 71,000 kills, no losses. You've only got 129,000 of them. I'm going to suggest that you get your siege attack up and double the size of that so that they're getting closer to 100,000 kills. You're going to need that to take that larger rally. But notice your victories are mostly going to come in your ground and siege layers, as we've gone over and over in the videos. Your T-13 ground layer, excellent. 931,000 kills. Okay, so we're seeing almost a million T-13 siege. Okay, so in the event of a range rally, you're pretty well covered. Just get those buffs up. I'm not even going to really mess on your layers. Ugh. Those are a little small for the size of rally you're going to be taking, because there's going to be more troops and the buffs are going to be higher. But that's more than we need to put on you right now. It's just something we need to talk about. Okay. You lost 29,283,000 T1s. Okay, so you got a pretty robust for a K-36 strong upper tier. I'm going to suggest that you double the amount of these T1s. I know that's 8 billion food and 8 billion lumber, but it's resource consuming event right now. Those got 4 million kills. Your losses in that layer are going to be a lot heavier with a 3,300 buff. Now, I want you to understand, I'm not asking you to change your refines on your wall gen. Keep the flat refines. Do that. Let me make it clear. The buffs that I'm talking about, like right there, your ground HP and your ground defense, up those through Blazing, up those through Senate, up those through, beasts on the wall, up those through research, up those through spiritual beast seals. How many spiritual beasts do you have? Your champions. What champions are you leveling up? Try to get that ground HP to over 1,000. Okay, those are little knick-knack things that we can do to where when you take these bigger hits, that hopefully we're there to reinforce you and your losses aren't large. But you're definitely on the right track. Okay, you got something we can work with. So far, I'm not seeing any reason you can't do this. Let's go into... Okay, there was 5 players on that rally. Let's take a look at what they threw at you. Level 42 generals. That's closer to what's going to be coming at you. Look at the composition. That is top-notch March composition right there. Just enough T14 so as they don't give you a hell of a lot of points. Just enough T13s to get a couple million kills, and then just piling on the T12s. That's someone who knows how to put a fucking march together. Jeff was not the toughest we faced in battle, but he was all right. He was a good player. I don't know what the hell these people were doing. I don't think they knew what the hell they were doing either, which worked in your favor. You can count on in SVS that the second person in the rally is going to have something bigger and something more well put together, something more like that. And that one player is going to have T15s. All these little bitty details are going to make a lot of difference. Okay, that didn't have every layer in there. That worked in your favor. Yeah, the rest of these guys... What time did this happen? It's a battlefield. Oh, yeah, that was near the end of the battlefield. Yeah, so they were just throwing what they had at you. Okay, so you're going to be getting hit with fresher troops. All right. So, yeah, definitely you don't need more T14 range. I'm going to say double your T14 siege and get your siege attack up. Your T13 siege is fine. Put like another 100,000 T12s in there. Get 1,000,000 T11s. Look at the amount of kills they got versus everything else. You need some fight back teeth. And double your T10s. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So your question back here was, should I make T11 ground and T11 siege? Okay, let's look at the report. All right. So we're going to go to the T11 ground, T11 siege. T10 grounds, yeah, you can beef those up, definitely. And the buffs are all right. 10,000 losses, 87,000 kills. If you had 2 to 3 times more in there, well, your losses wouldn't have been tantamount. It's T10s. They don't give away a lot of points. Definitely get a lot more T11 siege. T10 siege, you can double those. T9 ground, double those. I hope you're going through writing all this down. I'm just seeing a bunch of shit to make you a bit stronger. I'll try to write down the bullet points for it, but good work so far. You've been working your ass off, clearly. Okay. Didn't ghost my high mounted, didn't think they wanted to fight. Yeah, I know that was... They started doing Hail Mary shit at the end. Not all battlefield opponents are going to give you what you want. Okay. What was this? Okay, this was another range rally behind the first one. And Naka's range buff is actually higher than mine, but he sent Chain Yell Jin. I'm going to show you the conversation I've been having with Naka. That you got to understand, we played with Naka in FSU for the year. He did not want to do Battlefield or anything like that. It just at all. It was against his religion to hit anybody, and he didn't want to go to Yep with us. And now, all of a sudden, he's just decided, hey, I want to do this, and it's got to be his idea. But thankfully, he has taken an interest. So let's look at. Okay, I'm going to go all the way up here, just to give you an idea, because I do need your help with Naka, because you are Japanese, you speak Japanese, and Naka's part of the team. Okay, right there, look at the power loss. But Naka is looking at this. T-14's killed 11 million, T-12's killed 7 million. Because I told him, go less heavy on the T-14s, go heavier on T-12. So he fires back and shows me it's the more effective. So I'm going to give you a moment to read what I told him. And I'm trying to do it in shorter points using very universal words, because I know the translator fucks me here, but and I tried to show him, point out, that the power loss, it's bad, and I'll give you a minute to read that. So I showed him he lost 1.7 million T-14s. I showed him on a calculator, they give away 60 points apiece. He lost 102 million points there. There's your points calculator right there. And I'm trying to get him to think in terms of SVS, but there's the whole conversation. And his response was this. And so, keep in mind, his buffs are higher than mine, and he's got T-15 troops. So Naka really is the story in UAO. He really is. It's just a question of when he's on and what he wants to do. He just does what he wants. And I'm just trying to give him a chance to get his footing. I'll work on setting rallies with him later. But once he gets in the habit of doing it and decides he likes it, that's going to be the story in UAO. He's going to be the one. I'm not going to catch up with him. I don't have T-15 range. I don't have his buffs. He got the K-40 before I did. Naka's the story. So, if you could help me there, if that's possible. These, he did great. But we're sitting here talking about Naka. You already know about Naka. Let's get back to you. Okay. Alright. This is that siege attack that... Your siege buffs are better than this guy's, and this guy's are less than 1,000. And his siege march, level 39 generals, way this is put together, I guarantee you that Palace is not 5 stars like it will be with a serious siege attack. It gives you a lot of T14s, a lot of T13s, and T12s. A good siege attack is going to come at you with like 20,000 in those layers, and then like 4 fucking million T11s. So a siege attack is always going to splat against you. Let's take a look at why that is. If you go to, let's go to a T14, biggest one I got. If you take a look at the attack, defense, and HP of a siege machine, it's lower than any other troop type. I'm just going to compare it to range, because mount and grounds defense and HP are superior to range in most cases. Oh shit. Fuck. Okay. You got more defense and HP in a range troop. Okay. Siege have... all they have on anything is the range. Oh, that's T11s. Give me T14. Okay. Look at the range of them. 2178. That's higher than anything, like by a long shot. 2178 range. You're looking at your range troops having 500. And then for like ground troops and mount, it's 50 and 30. So the first things that hit you in battle is siege. And the only thing that can reach your siege layer if you don't get 0 is siege. But because of their weak structure, defense, and HP and low attack, a siege attack is always going to splat on you. It's just, you want to make sure that the amount of points that you send in a siege attack is going to lose less points than you take out in the opponent's siege. It's a way to win by like 20, 30 million points, 100 million if you're good. Somebody can hit me with a siege attack and fuck me up if I'm not waiting on it. That's Crash Course in Siege Attack. Connie, I don't really see any reason why you can't do it. I'm not going to tell you to not try it. Yeah, we're with you. I'm going to try to get you all the help that I can and push you all the way over the top. I've tried to give you every advantage that I have as a player. I want you to really succeed at this, and you've done a lot of the groundwork. So there are the things. I'm going to go ahead and upload this video, send it to you, and make some bullet points. What time is it? It's 11:11 here, so you're 15 hours ahead of me. That's 12:02. In Japan, that is konnichiwa, and I guess I would say ja atode. Ja atode. See you later, and arigatou gozaimasu. Yes, okay. Thank you, Connie, and I gotta get better with my salutations and manners, but we're behind you on this, and you've really worked your ass off, and yeah, definitely something we can build on. Okay, I'm on to the next one.